afternoon. My name is Lawrence Grodecki. I'm a design engineer with the Morris R&D department. And what I'm going to talk about a bit here is our new prototype commodity tender cart. So what we have here is, as you can see, a four-wheel cart with four individual tanks. And what we've done is size the tanks from back to front. They're sized differently, and what the concept is to have them matching up with the 9 series air carts. Basically you have a smaller rear tank, 2 small middle tanks, and 1 larger front tank. Each tank is individual, and we have the Digistar load cell systems. So what we can do is on each tank we can weigh the amount of material that goes into the tank and vice versa as we auger it out. What we have is a PTO driven gearbox and pumps at the front of the tractor. That system drives the augers, so each pump drives each auger individually. What we have for the front and rear tank is a 12-inch auger, and then the 2 middle tanks are 10-inch augers. We have a gate, a hydraulic cylinder that opens and closes the gate. And what we do is we start the augers up, and then once we start ready to auger the material, we open up the cylinder, which opens up the gates and controls the flow of the product. The tires are equipped with brakes. What we have is a electric over hydraulic brake system. So what it is when you apply the brakes in the tractor, the brakes on the air cart automatically come on. We have a caliper brake on all 4 of the tires. So what we have is on the front end we have the quad axle type steering, same as our 800 and 1000 air cart. And then on the back we have the pivoting rear axle that allows the whole frame to contour over the rough terrain that we have. On the opposite side of the tender cart, you can see that we've got the 4 augers. As I explained, the front one and the back one are 12-inch, the 2 middle ones are 10-inch. Right now we've got them folded into transport position, and what we have is when we're up against the air cart, all 4 of them automatically, they're controlled by 1 hydraulic system. What we have is a wireless remote control system, and it's tied into this valve bank right here. That wireless controls the folding, unfolding of the augers, the opening and closing of the gates, the lowering and raising. What this whole frame here will do is it'll lower and raise so that you can get the spouts into the cart and then lift it back up. And then also the wireless controls the on-off operation of all augers. So in this position, transport, we have the augers down, and then when we get to the field, with the wireless, you basically push the 1 button and all of them automatically come to the unfold position. As an option, we have at the back, we have a roll-up tarp that you can cover the system. And then basically it's just a roll-up tarp that you just unroll and roll it up.
My name is Dallas Norick. I'm with Norenda Ag. We farm 30,000 acres near Gerald, Saskatchewan. Canola, wheat, flax, using Morris for 30 years. Overall experience on the tender cart has been amazing. I guess we were a little bit suspect coming and seeing something. We were a little slow in the past to adopt into grain carts. We were a little slow to move into Super Bs. but we're not going to be slow moving into the tender cart. The tender cart increased our productivity as much as any grain cart can in fall. We run a bunch of combines, a few grain carts. The efficiencies you see that way parallel with the tender cart in spring. It's literally gaining 2 more hours in the seeding. Fill time has been exceptionally quick. Not only the fill time, the where, the when, the extra man in the field, how you can utilize them, rather than that man tied up in a truck on the highway. Utilization of manpower, utilization of that man in the yard, in the field, running around, checking behind you. It's totally simplified your service time with respect to the cart pulls up, you fill so quick, 10 minutes, you're rolling again. You're not fighting with an auger, swinging an auger out. You're not worried. You can fill wherever. With the neighbors, we often compare fill times. Brand to brand, we compare fill time. And then the thing is, clutch to clutch. How long does it take clutch to clutch? So our talk has changed, and we've modified our way of expressing fill time from clutch to clutch, because we've done time trials throughout the year in relative, and now we talk seeding to seeding. So seeding to seeding is, okay, I get on the radio, okay guys, I'm going to start filling, I'm stopping seeding now. 10 minutes later, okay guys, I'm seeding again. So then the guys without the tender cart that haven't the privilege to use it, okay guys, I'm aiming for the approach. 10 minutes later, okay guys, I'm going to start filling. 30 minutes later, okay guys, I'm done filling. 10 minutes later, okay guys, I'm back to where I finished off in seeding. So instead of chasing the grain, your cart and your seeder and running and seeding all the way to the approach, when you're empty, aiming and utilizing all your empty time, because in these wet years, empty time is so important. Instead of utilizing your empty time heading to the worst patch and going and seeding the headlands in the worst, wettest area, you're busy navigating towards the approach, so you don't have to drive empty across the field or non-seeding across the field. So what we found is the tender cart is sitting there in the middle of the field waiting for you, and you run till you're right empty in the worst spot, and just so you get out of the worst spot, just finish up, and then now, oh, I don't have to drive 10, 15 minutes to the approach, immediate fill. You just make a little E, cart comes up, 10 minutes later, make a little E, and you're seeding again. So it's not only enhanced the fill time, but the seed to seed time is now we talk. 10 minutes seeding to seeding, not 10 minutes to get to the truck, 30 minutes to fill, 10 minutes to get back to where you were, or finding a way to maneuver through the sloughs to get to the truck. The cart's there, it's on swath service, and that means everything. In the future, as we order carts, if we get more involved, as we get more involved with the tender wagons and they become available, we will not order augers or conveyors. That's a $30,000 option. So if we're tender is feeding, say, 3 units, there's $100,000 budget we have left over. And then resale, we turn our equipment quite frequently. Then the next purchase, the next guy that goes to buy it, what will he do? He can design and order whatever. He might be a tender man as well, but he might also want to order the proper auger that fits him the best, or a conveyor, or whatever he wants, and he's not stuck to what we decided to put on it. He can customize the cart further after. So our trade-in values should ultimately increase, because we're not worried about a used conveyor, because everybody's scared about a 2-year-old conveyor. Oh my goodness, I have to rebuild it. So now, here you go, buddy. Here's a cart. There's nothing on it. Put what you want on it, and it's brand new. Have at her. And then we won't. Yeah, I can't see us ordering really ever another cart with and all the weight. That's an extra 2 ton hanging on there. All the hydraulic packages to plumb it. The other thing about the tender cart is we can check our boots. We can technically have the fan running and check the boots while we're filling, if we were really that in a hurry or in a rush. But you have so much time freed up that you don't mind. It's almost too much seat time with the tender cart. Point of view of acres, comparing. Unfortunately, I can't totally compare apples to apples. So I've got 86 feet with a 1,000 bushel cart. The other boys have 84 feet and 80 feet with 800 bushel tanks. So in a day, they were getting and doing on wheat 130 acres of fill. They were fighting to do 3 fills in 14, 15 hours. With the tender cart and the 1,000 bushel, now I'm giving the advantage a little bit more. I was still seeding flax and doing 200 acres, so that's per fill. So I was running 600 acres a day. And on the best land, I was home within 12 hours. I know that sounds ridiculous, but that's some really nice land. On the lower land, of course, in the poorer land, lots of potholes. Right away, I'm up a couple hours or an hour, but I was doing 3 more tanks at 70 acres more a tank in the same time. And that's putting me 2 hours more in the seat. Again, attributed somewhat to the 1,000 bushel tank and the extra footage. But ultimately that cart, the tender cart, instead of that 2 hours, I'm sleeping because I'm seeding the same amount of time, but I'm sleeping instead of filling, or I'm done, or I can start a 4th tank. It's been pretty excellent, pretty amazing. When we first started, we were learning the machine, so we serviced the this unit on flax, very, very easily. We had it 20 miles from the farm. We didn't use the Super Bee. The tender wagon went to the farm, filled up fertilizer and flax seed, and drove down back roads. It filled me in 10 minutes and was gone. I was good for the 3-4 hours, depending on the land at that point. And they were taking about an hour to tender it that far. So then we thought, okay, well, let's add another element, let's really challenge it and see. So then we went to 3 units at 35 miles away with 1 Super Bee. And again, the timing of 3 units and 1 Super Bee, when the 1 Super Bee only holds 2 fills, there was a little bit of logistics in that truck had to hop. If you would have had 2 Super Bees and 1 trucker, there would have been absolutely no issue. We would have kept up. We were thinking we could even have pushed 5. If you have a Super Bee there all the time, there's no reason, if you have a good man on that tender cart, that you can't do a loop, 15 minutes to fill the cart, 15 minutes to find whoever you're going to fill, 10 minutes to fill them, and 15 minutes back. You have more than enough time in an hour to fill a cart. So it depends how big your carts are, obviously. If you're running a 3-hour cart, you can do 3. If you're running a 4-hour cart, easily 4. So the next thing is if you're waiting till you're right empty and then filling, like at the beginning days when you're calibrating and making sure everything makes sense. But once you invoke and once you bring in that tender cart, and there's 3 different units or 4, or however many units you want to run, once you bring in the cart and have multi-units, if you're comfortable not running the seeder out, we were getting filled when we're winging up. So not only do we have to go to the edge of the field and wing up for 10 minutes, drive down the road, wing down for 10 minutes, then stop and then fill for half hour, we're getting filled, turn around, and here we're filled by the time we wing up, move to the next field. There's no fill time. If you're willing to take on that challenge and you can trust your tank, and once you're far enough into the season that you're comfortable with it, there's no downtime. Because every time you want to change a field or anything, just get topped up. You don't have to run it to E. If you're running on the top end of your tank, that tender cart will just, like a bee in pollen, just everywhere, keep everybody going, never stop. We know that it'll work for any size, because we used it with 1 seeder, we used it with 2, 3 seeders. We used it 2 miles away from home where we are now. We're just feeding 3 drills, 2 miles from home. 3 drills is no problem, back and forth. You stagger your fill times, but big deal. You do anyway if you have a Super Bee or a trailer. So we know that it'll work for 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units. We haven't tried 4 yet. We want to. But now if I'm looking at the I don't know, 4,000 acre farmer I'm going to pick. I know a neighbor that this cart would work perfectly for. And the reason is he's a pretty close unit. He strays away from trucks. He just doesn't care for trucks. He's still at that tandem stage, and he just doesn't want to make the move. And he has family, a wife that runs the cart, runs the grain truck, and it's automatic and everything's good, and he knows that he'll scare her off if he goes to the semi. She runs equipment, she runs a combine, she runs everything. She could sit in this cart in spring and tender the seeder, no problem, all year. Tank on and diesel tank on. They don't need a fuel truck, they don't need a service truck. She comes to the field, it's one stop, done, move on. Then come harvest, absolutely, can tender back. She could absolutely tender back to the yard because they're using a tandem. And this can keep up to a tandem. It'll hold as much or more as a tandem. And for them, they never get open up more than 20 miles an hour anyway because it's a mile, a mile, a mile. So it would absolutely fit, 100%. There's no reason it wouldn't fit for every size farmer. Large, small, either. It can work with wonderfully complement one machine, 2 machines, 3 machines, 4, however many. Well, we float our sulfur on in the fall for various, and a little bit of potash here and there. So as we float the sulfur on, our trucks, it's after harvest, it's behind the combines, we want to get it done. So we're tied up, all our trucks are tied up with harvest. Our grain carts are tied up with harvest. So this gives us no more investment to tender to our floater. So when we're floating Tiger on and filling the seed tender up would last 2 days in a floater, you know, so just move it place to place. Even if we unhooked it and switched back and forth, whatever, you could absolutely tender to a floater, tractor, go anywhere in the field, park it anywhere, stage it anywhere, or on row service. It's a matter of how many people you have, what the logistics of the day are. But yeah, it frees up, absolutely frees up a semi, absolutely, or a truck, a tandem, semi, and frees up your grain cart in harvest, I guess, in the sense one or the other. Or we've had it that our sulfur, we used to drive out 20 miles because we didn't have any trucks. So we'd actually drive our floater 20 miles and just fill ourselves because you could fill enough almost for the day. So you just make a short day, call it good. Now we'll extend our days, make more productivity. We'll go a day and a half, a day's fill or 2-day fill we'll take with us. It's tarps, everything's good, nice floater, load the floater and away we go. It's been a good experience. We really appreciated the opportunity to work with it.